Welcome to the Allison Lombatis Show, a podcast to help women discover and rediscover their style. I'm Allison Lombatis, and I am so glad you hit play on today's episode. This week on the show, I'm speaking with Joy, a retired teacher and an artist in her 60s who lives in Northwest Arkansas. Her love for fashion started at a young age, wearing hand-sewn garments made by her very stylish grandmother. She grew up with limited means and a make-it-work approach to style that leaned on her creativity. And to this day, she continues to be inspired and empowered to curate her wardrobe and design outfits that allow her to live authentically as the best version of herself. During our conversation, Joy shares how she builds a functional wardrobe for the 3 different needs of her lifestyle, her yes dress philosophy, and the surprising place that she wears high heels. I have to be honest, Joy inspired me so much during our conversation, and I just know that her wisdom is going to inspire you too. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please take a moment to do it now. I've got an incredible lineup of episodes for you in the coming weeks, and I don't want you to miss a thing. And if you enjoyed listening to the show, I would be super grateful if you take a moment to rate it and leave a review. I know it seems like a silly thing, but your rating and review really do help, especially for new shows like this one. We're going to chat with Joy in just a minute, but first, will you join me and my producer, Lauren, for a coffee chat? Hey, Lauren, welcome to Coffee Chat. I'm excited to chat with you today about something that I feel like is a really hot topic for summer.
And I'm in Canada and I already am feeling the heat today. I usually have my desk fan on and I've turned it off right now. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see we'll call it the glow, the summer glow, develop during this conversation. But really, it's just hot in here. And anything I can do to stay cool this summer. Gosh, here I am in Canada saying this. You're in Texas, so I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. The hot topic is the linen chat.
It is. Yes, we're going to talk about linen because I feel like, honestly, I was even out in stores this weekend. It is everywhere. And I feel like every email I'm getting from retailers this summer is featuring linen. And I got a ton of questions on Instagram recently. I posted a Ask Me Anything in my stories, and so many women were asking me about linen and specifically how to care for it and how to keep it looking good in the summer months. And I wore linen yesterday. It was like 90, 91 degrees here and super humid and hot. So I'm like, I'm feeling your pain.
Yes, we can all relate. So I know that linen is, there's a handful of actual linen pieces in the Outfit Formulas community this season. So do you want to talk maybe a little bit for people who need some inspiration? Where do I start? What those pieces are that you have included in your Outfit Formulas outfit guide this season? And also, how are you pairing them up? So what is your community wearing this season?
Yeah, so I knew for sure whenever I was putting this capsule together that I wanted it to include a pair of linen pants. And this season, I chose a pair of linen rayon blend, high-waisted straight pants. And these are in kind of a natural linen shade. And we're pairing them up, with some simple basics like a black tee and some black sandals. We're also pairing them up with a floral top, which is super cute, and a little cardigan if it's still, a lot of women are still wearing layers, which is kind of crazy. I've transitioned over into my shorts and there's no going back. We're also pairing that up with a linen jacket that we have had on the shopping list for the past few months. That linen jacket is something that I bought last year from H&M. And I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you see me styling this a million different ways. And it has just been one of those essential layering pieces that we've added in. But we're pairing up the linen pants with the jacket and also with a pop of color. We've got this really cute kind of teal colored shirt. I guess turquoise is a better description of that. And we've got a pair of multicolored sandals with that, which I think are just super cute for summer and a fun way to add details to outfits. We're pairing them up with a graphic tee and a denim jacket. We're pairing them up with sneakers. So we're having a lot of fun with those linen pants. And we also have a pair of black and white striped drawstring shorts. And those are also kind of a linen blend as well. And just adding that fun little bit of pattern to those outfits. Again, in the summer months, it's really hard to add interest without adding heat and adding layers. So I'm always looking for ways to add in those little pops of color or those little patterns or the things that we can do to add interest. So we're pairing them up with some fun pink sandals, and also with that ruffle sleeve turquoise top with a bubblegum pink t-shirt. But there's so many ways that we can wear these pieces, and even just, pairing them up with other neutrals like the black t-shirt with that as well.
Amazing. I love that so a couple things that you touched on there. I love that you're talking about, the layers, and depending on where you're living, you're just like, oh, the layers are too much. It's nice to know what the topper option is should you need it, right? If your climate needs it, I experienced when I was down visiting you last year, it's like, oh, they're real serious about their air conditioning down here. So if you're in an air conditioned space and you need that topper, even for us, we went down to the river to visit some friends that were camping, and this past weekend, and I brought my shacket. Actually, my husband kind of laughed at me. He goes, "You sure you're going to need that?" And I went, "Hey, it can be breezy and chilly by the water, right? You're always close to the water. So depending on what your activities are, you may need that topper. And if you don't, actually, one of the this is a spoiler alert, an upcoming episode that you and I are going to chat about, we're going to talk a little bit about summer styling without adding on layers and how to continue to add those interests to your outfits without those third pieces. I've been keeping a list, and I'm actually really excited to dive into that conversation. So I think there's going to be a lot of good tips in that episode. So make sure that you are subscribed and following us on the podcast listening app of your choice, because you will not want to miss that episode. So speaking of linen
I'm excited for that one too.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, I was going to say I'm excited for that one too, because I feel like this is one of those recurring questions that we get every single summer. And especially for those of us who are in the hot climates, it is so hard to make your outfits look interesting. And I tend to fall into this rut too of, I'm just going to put on the tank top and the shorts, but I want those special little things that you can do just to tweak the outfit, just that little bit that makes it feel like, oh, wait, I'm actually putting an outfit together here. So yes, love that. Can't wait for that conversation.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to share this list with you too. So it'll be a fun one. So we're talking about linen being it's a lightweight fabric for summer, but like you mentioned, it's kind of everywhere right now. You're saying retailers, when all of like your inbox emails from all the different retailers, and linen is like front and center. Do you have any thoughts on like why this is such a trending fabric right now?
Yeah, I feel like we have these pieces that are like, quote, having a moment, right? And linen is definitely one of those pieces right now. And I feel like it has made this comeback in recent years because there is this larger trend toward sustainable and eco-friendly fashion choices. And linen is natural. It is, it has kind of like that earthy aesthetic, right? It appeals to many people who are seeking environmentally consciousness in their wardrobes, but it's also a lightweight, breathable fabric, which is so important for summer. It makes it ideal for hot weather. It has this kind of relaxed and casual vibe. I don't know, but every time I put on my linen, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for my beach vacation now, right? And it's perfect for laid back summer days. And the natural texture also just kind of adds that little bit of effortless style to any outfit too.
Yeah, what is it? I heard somebody say once, they were talking, which we're going to get to in a moment, talking about wrinkles. And because linen is prone to wrinkling. And I heard somebody once refer to them as rich person wrinkles. So like you say, that added touch of elegance, it's kind of inherent when you wear linen. So what about if you are not into the linen trend? Is there any maybe alternative fabrics that our listeners could try if linen just isn't their jam?
Yeah, you can get a very similar look to linen in some of the cotton blends. It's another breathable fabric that's perfect for summer. Chinos are made from a cotton twill fabric, and they're going to be a little bit dressier than linen is. But if you're looking for, a little bit more structure, if this is something, you're wearing to work or whatever, then that might be a good option for you. But if you're not completely opposed to linen, then you may find that the blends of linen with other fabrics are going to be that good compromise for you. So the linen cotton blend, for example, it's got the breathability of linen with the added softness and durability of cotton, and it's going to not wrinkle as easily as well. So that's another good benefit of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big one for sure. Which brings us to the next point. We're going to talk about those rich person wrinkles. So again, like this is a thing that we hear a lot in our community of, okay, I like the look, I like the lightness, the breathability, but I sit down and then as soon as I stand up, my pants are wrinkled or my top is wrinkled. Do we have any tips or tricks that we can share to keep our fits looking fresh this summer?
Yeah, so I was able to find some great tips and tricks for linen, but I'm going to just like throw out an unpopular opinion here that I don't really mind my linen being wrinkled. Honestly, I wore linen shorts yesterday to brunch. I knew it was going to be sweltering. I knew that, the minute I put them on and sat down that they were going to have wrinkles on them, but it's just it's inherent to that fabric, right? And I'm not the type of person that totally obsesses over wrinkles. My husband, on the other hand, irons everything. Craig irons his t-shirts. He's like, "Hey, do you want me to iron that for you?" But I'm just not as unless it's like super, super wrinkled or looks like I slept in it or whatever. I'm just not as bothered by wrinkles. And especially in the summer months, I'm like more casual, more laid back. I really don't mind it as much. But if they do bother you, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, then I found this super helpful article on a retailer's website. They're called Luxmii, Luxmii, and their clothing is absolutely gorgeous, especially their linen pieces, but they are definitely investment pieces. So don't be shocked by the price tag if you happen to check them out. But they had a few tips that they do recommend for linen care, and I love these tips. And the first one is to don't overload your washing machine. Do you overload your washing machine, Lauren?
Just did it this morning.
I do that too. That's why I stay out of the laundry room. Like Craig is so good at laundry. We have our strengths and weaknesses. We balance each other out very well. But I'm the person that's like, I'm just going to get this all done in one load. Why bother with messing with more than one? But giving your linen plenty of space when you're washing it does help to minimize those wrinkles because it's not going to get all bunched up. And it also ensures that your pieces are going to stay in good condition for longer. And the second thing that goes along with that is to be quick to take your linens out of the machine when they're done. This seems like a small thing, but it makes a massive difference to how smooth your linens are going to be in the end. And think about just your cotton t-shirts too, things that you let sit in the washer for a while. They're always going to end up with more wrinkles in them. So just take that extra minute, pull those pieces out immediately, and they won't end up getting all twisted up with each other. The next one is to dry your linens flat. So this is something that I definitely do with my linens. I will either take them outside. I like to hang them on a hanger and just kind of hang that hanger outside on the back porch so that the wind can help with some of the wrinkles. I do give them a good shake before I hang them up. Sometimes I will smooth them out with my hands and just kind of lay them flat in the laundry room, on the counter, or on one of our clothing racks in there. But that's also a great way. If you're not just kind of like tossing it into the dryer right away, then it's not going to get as wrinkled that way. This next one I loved, and I have not tried this yet, but I'm definitely going to try this. Iron your linens while they're still damp for best results. So I think this is going to be a game changer, honestly, if you don't allow those wrinkles to kind of dry in there and do it with some dampness. And I always use my steamer on my iron anyway, but I think that just maybe even spritzing it with a little bit of water beforehand, kind of shaking them out, letting them be damp beforehand is going to make a huge difference and give you a smooth finish in minutes instead of having to iron that piece forever, which I did do that with my linen shorts yesterday before I put them on. It took forever, but hey, it's just part of wearing linen, right? And next up, a quality steamer. Do you have a steamer, Lauren? Do you use a steamer?
I do have one. It's one of those smaller, like travel size ones. I don't use it a ton, but actually, so as I'm telling this, I'm realizing why I don't use it a ton. I purposely don't buy clothes that need to be ironed often. So probably most of that speaks to just the choices that I'm choosing to bring into my wardrobe in the first place. Typically are not ones that are going to require any high maintenance. And yeah, ironing is high maintenance for me. So I do have a steamer. I use it very sparingly.
I am the same way. I didn't invest in a steamer, honestly, until about 2 or 3 years ago. And the reason I bought it was to take to the Alpha Formulas photo shoots because I wanted something that was going to be like easy and portable. And when our models would show up with their pieces, I wanted it to be super easy for them to put their clothes on. So I brought the steamer and we would steam their clothes. But apparently this works really, really well for linen. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to give it a try. So steamers remove creases without damaging clothing. And there is a reason why fashion designers swear by them. That is all they use. So who knew? Guess we learned something new today. And the next one, be extra careful how you sit and move. See, I don't like this tip. I'm just going to say it. I don't like this tip. Straighten up a linen skirt or pants before you sit down to help minimize wrinkles. Now, this one's smart. Try to unbutton linen jackets before sitting, or better yet, hang them over a chair. I just don't want to have to be super careful and precious with my clothes.
That's fair.
Am I high maintenance? I don't know.
No, I don't think you are. You know what? I think it is more of like you're a realist. So like in a previous episode of the podcast, you were talking with, actually, no, in this episode, you're talking with Joy. This is, again, gosh, this is 2 spoiler alerts now. Towards the end of this episode, you and Joy actually talk a little bit about home decor. She surprises you with a question about home decor and styling. And one of the things that you mentioned to her was that, hey, we live here. And I kind of I feel the same way about my clothes of like, yeah, I'm not a cover girl model who is perfectly posed and these had 45 assistants steaming everything in hair and makeup. It's like, no, I'm living in my clothes. I'm showing it up. It's hot out. I'm sweating. We're all sweating. We're all in this together. I'm not going to look perfectly flawless every moment of every day. I'm just showing up as me, and hey, take it or leave it, folks. So I'm with you. I'm like, nah, I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm just going to live in my clothes and they're there to serve me. And I'm not there to pose perfectly on a chair so I don't have wrinkles on my pants. That just is not going to fly for me.
I love it. And I think if anything, like, you have permission to have wrinkles in your linen. I just want everybody to know that today. Like, it is okay. They don't have to look perfect. They're going to look great the second you put them on, and then they're not. So that's all there is to it. I mean, you can go through all of these tips, but at the end of the day, if you're sitting in your linen pants, they will get wrinkles. Your shorts will too. And the last tip that they offer is to wear linens with prints. And I do love this because I do feel like those linen shorts with the stripes, I own those shorts. They just don't show the wrinkles as much. So linen pieces featuring stripes or prints are going to do an excellent job of masquerading the wrinkles. And if all else fails, just go for a printed linen shirt because no one will know that you haven't used an iron. And who wants to iron in the summer anyway? Not me.
Amen. I'm right there with you. I'm not a fan of that second last tip, and I super love that last tip. So hooray for the printed linen. Love that suggestion. That feels way more like something I will actually do. So I love that. I love this super helpful information. Thank you for helping me and your listeners not just look cool this summer, but also helping us stay cool in that summer heat. And I am just so happy I got to chat with you today.
Thank you. And if you guys want to check out this article, we will link it up in the show notes, which you can get at AllisonLabetis.com/podcast. And now I'm so excited to have my conversation with Joy. Well, hello, Joy. Welcome to the show. I am so excited that you're here today. I cannot wait to talk a little bit more about your style journey and some of your goals that you have around style. But first, would you please give us a quick little introduction?
Well, I live in the northwest part of Arkansas, which is unlike any other part of the state. It's beautiful. We have beautiful 4 seasons. I am an artist and I am retired from teaching. I live with my husband, who is also retired recently from dentistry. And our children live very close. We have a daughter who has 3 boys, and we have a son who has 3 girls. And we just spend a lot of our time with family. It's very important to us.
That's amazing. I can attest to the fact that Northwest Arkansas is gorgeous. I grew up in Pennsylvania. So as a Texan, we used to travel up your way just to kind of get that feel of the greenery and the mountains and all the things. So I'm a little bit jealous right now. So I feel like you and I know each other because we have been DMing on Instagram, and it's been so cool. And you've been sharing all these things about your style journey with me. And actually, this was my idea, inviting you onto the show today, because you had shared so many great insights. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to talk more. I want to have a deeper conversation with you about that. And also, over the course of the past couple of months, we've been really doing a lot of style coaching, but I feel like today there might be a little bit of coaching in there, but more or less, I would really just love to hear more about your journey and the ways that your style has changed, the impact that that's had on you, and some of the things that you and I have really just been chatting about in those conversations. So How long have you been a member of Outfit Formulas?
I have been a member since 2018, and I keep a binder of all my, I'm the nerdy one. So I keep a binder of all the shopping lists and the calendar. And so I went back and looked, and it was 2018, and I joined in the spring. So most of my thing, and wasn't a annual member at the time. So the most of my stuff is spring stuff. So I have spring 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. The rest is kind of sketchy where I would go in and out. But yeah, since 2018, and I have loved it. It's been really good for me because I tend to get overwhelmed with all my clothes in my closet, which I love. And it keeps me, it's like an artist that does a sketch first on their canvas. And they're like, oh yeah, I want this and this and this. And then they add in the color and the texture and pictures, or, that I do multimedia. So I will cut out things. And that's what Outfit Formula does for me. It's like you say, it's a formula where I like, okay, this shirt goes with this goes with this. And it just kind of keeps me from just getting, oh, this is so fun. Oh, look at all the pretty things, that kind of thing.
I love that. So you get to kind of exercise that little bit of the artistic side of you, but also it gives you kind of that focus of planning things out in a more concrete fashion at the same time. I love that. I'm always fascinated to hear ways that our members engage with the program that it blows my mind. You guys are so creative.
Well, as a teacher, I was the one that loved to make lesson plans. No teacher likes to make lesson plans. I was the nerdy one, obviously. And I would make them for everybody. And so that's why I love Outfit Formulas, because the lesson plans are already made. And I get to plug in all the things I want to do that are unique to me. So that's how I use it.
That's amazing. So how would you say things have changed since that first spring of 2018 to now spring of 2024? If you can remember back then.
I have culled my closet. I've really culled my closet. And I have always I moved a lot as a child, and my mother would have those 3 bags, like since I was a little girl, stash, trash, or cash. But she called it keep, throw away, or I don't know. And so we would do everything. And if we didn't know, we'd put it in the I don't know bag. And then that one we'd have to go keep, throw away, I don't know. So I've always culled my closet. I've always cleaned it out. But I think our Outfit Formulas has really caused me to think about the 3 places that, as a retired person and a grandmother and a mother, 3 places that I normally live. I live at home. I live on my bike, obviously, and I live with my grandkids. So those are the clothes that need to be in my closet. And with Outfit Formulas, you make that so easy with the simplicity of your outfits that you put together. There's not like boas, things like that. But it's just very simple to plug in what I have in my closet to work for that.
That's amazing. It sounds like you've really figured out how to adapt for your lifestyle. And I love that your mom taught you that skill. So at such a young age to really I think that that's a key for so many women, is they get so overwhelmed by everything in their closets that it makes it that much more difficult to put an outfit together. Right. So talk to me a little bit more about your wardrobe. I'll ask this question. What is your overall goal or vision for your wardrobe? And do you feel like you are achieving that? You did share that, lifestyle is super important to you, and you kind of have those 3 buckets of lifestyle covered. But is there anything else that you kind of want to work on in that space?
Well, I think that the overwhelm is kind of probably what I want to work on. I love all the clothes in my closet. As a matter of fact, I have a shirt in there right now that I want to wear so badly that I can't figure out how to use it. And I think the overwhelm comes with all the things I have that I really love. And that's part of being an artist. You have all the pens and the pencils and the paints and the colors, and you're just so excited about using all that sometimes I think that's a little bit overwhelming to me, and I have to walk away. And sometimes as I'm getting dressed and I'm thinking, oh, this will go with this and this will go with this. And then my room looks like a scene from The Wizard of Oz, like when everything's in color and there's a dead witch under the house. And I just have to walk away from it and come back and say, keep it simple, Joy. So I think that's kind of where I struggle, but it's not a bad struggle, I don't guess, but it's kind of where I struggle sometimes.
Just having a lot of things. And you had also shared with us that you love to create outfits. So sometimes you feel a little bit challenged by getting to wear the outfits that you're creating. So tell me a little more about that.
Well, I have been known to dress up in heels and go to Walmart because I just don't want to let a good outfit go to waste. My niece used to tell my sister, she'd pick her up from school and she'd say, can we just go down to McDonald's and sit outside and she'd say, why? And she goes, I just love this outfit. I don't want to waste it. So kind of that's, that's how I feel. I love getting dressed, and I would rather be overdressed than underdressed any day of the week. I will do that. And people have always asked me about that, especially when I was teaching school, and I taught first grade for 25 years, and I was down on the floor, and I was, I was all hats. And they would say, why are you so dressed up? And I was like, this just makes me feel better. And if I am feeling really yucky in the morning when I get up, putting on something I really love, an outfit I really love, it just makes me feel so much better. And I'm nicer to people, like my husband.
There you go. There's your marriage tip for the day. Dress in something that makes you feel great. That's so good. I love on your application form that you shared that the 3 words that come to mind first when you're thinking about style is creative, fun, and empowering. So I really just love how getting dressed is such a bright spot in your life, and you just, that is infectious. So tell me more about why you chose those 3 words.
Well, let's see. Creative, obviously. And fun is because, life is short and you only have one chance at it. And nobody gets up every day and says, well, I just want to feel terrible today. No, you want to feel good. And so I just want to be inspired every day and have fun. And I've always said, like my clothes are my art, and my body is my palette, and my closet is, and the world is my gallery. And so it's just, I think that that's really important for me, is having fun with my clothes. And of course, interesting. I'm always throwing on something that no one would expect. At least my daughter is very conservative. And my sister's like, show me what's on the mannequin. That's what I'm going to buy. And I roll up in a skirt from a garage sale and some Hanes t-shirts. And they're like, what? I don't understand. How do you do that?
I love that you have fun with it. Yes. It is. It's so good. And also that you're not just saving things. I think a lot of us do that. We'll go out and buy those fun items, and then we're like, oh, but I'm not going to wear this today because I am only going to Walmart, right? You embrace those moments and say, no, this is an opportunity for me to wear what I love. And that is such good advice. Yeah, so good. So let's talk a little bit about your tweaking of your outfits. You feel like you're never finished tweaking an outfit as an artist. Tell me about that.
No, never. And first of all, when my son went to college, which was 1,000 years ago, really, we turned his bedroom into my closet, which I call it my clothis, because it has where I do, have my art in there. So I will go in there and play, and I'll go, toward the bedroom at night to go to bed, and I'll pass by that room and I'll like, oh yeah, that shirt, those pants, and I'll get in the bed and I'll just lay there going, and then if I had a red sweater, I just tweak it all of the time. And even when I put something on, and I learned from you, take a picture of it. It does look different in a selfie, which I'm not very good at. And that has helped a lot, but I'm just always thinking, well, that would be good and that would be good. And then you put this, and then I'll get on this tear of, I have to find a pair of teal shoes. And so then I'll just stick it in my brain and I'll just go about my life. And all of a sudden, a week later, a month later, 2 days later, a year later, I'll find some teal shoes. So that's kind of how I just, know that there's things that I like to plug in at different places that just make me feel like it's all colorful and fun and creative.
It totally makes sense. Yes. I love how when you put something on the list, eventually it magically appears. Isn't that crazy? If you hold out long enough, that item will show up.
And I am not a shopper. I like to shop, but I am a hunter gatherer. Like I said, if I see a purse that I think, oh, that would go with the blue coat and and it's at the thrift store. And do not go to a thrift store and not get something you love, because you go back 20 minutes later, it's gone. So those kind of things happen to me too, where I know where to go and I think I should go back and get that. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So you had shared too that getting dressed is your creative outlet. So I love this. You said, I enjoy it to the point of forgetting to eat or finish the laundry or do the dishes. You say, I have too many heck yes pieces. For those who aren't familiar with the heck yes concept, if it's not a heck yes, it's a no. That's our philosophy around outfit formulas. So tell me a little bit more about that. That sounds like an enviable place to be, but also one where I can see would create some overwhelm for you too.
I learned in my life of therapy and becoming a healthier person that decisions need to feel like you say, a heck yes dress, but I called them my yes dresses. So when I was working on, making choices, and like literally choices of where to go to have lunch, or whether, just any kind of choice, I would think about my closet, and on one side of my closet would be my yes dresses, the ones that made me feel so comfortable and cozy and flowy and beautiful and just alive and my authentic self. And then I would think of the other side of my closet as the scratchy, itchy, uncomfortable things your mom makes you wear for the picture day at school or your menopause hot clothes. And I would just get in my mind what it is that the decision that I have to make and, which one I would make. It does it feel like a yes dress or does it feel like an itchy dress? And that's kind of my heck yes pieces. When I think about my closet, I don't want anything in there that's itchy and scratchy. Now not everything is beautiful and wonderful and comfortable, but I just think I'm not going to put something on that doesn't make me show up to be my best self. And so that kind of goes along with the heck yes, dress pieces and my yes dresses, and I was doing this in a Zoom time meeting one time. And this one, I looked over and this one lady was like, I want to go to your closet. Where are your yes dresses? I'm like, Erin, sweetie, you can do it in your closet. But you know that feeling, that grounded, lovely feeling about what to eat, where to go, who to talk to, who to be friends with, what to wear. And that's kind of how I make decisions intuitively.
Yes, yes. Oh, I love intuitive decisions so much. And it really does help to make that decision when you put on that dress. Does it feel right? How does this look? How does this make me feel? If we're dressing according to how we feel, then we just really can't go wrong with that. So it's such an important concept to remember for sure.
Well, I was thinking about this. It's like we have things in our closet that don't feel great. The pants are too tight or the shirt is too itchy or whatever. But when you think about those special, wonderful occasions in your life, your wedding dress, your first interview dress, that first date dress, or not even a dress, but those things, you dress up all the time because we want to feel good and feel better. And every day can be that special occasion. I mean, it takes a stretch to think about Walmart that way, but really we do it, but we don't apply it all the time in our closet like we can. And we put on special shoes and we put on special men, what? They put on uniforms. They go out on a baseball field. They're not going to go out there in their sloppy, stuff. They're going to do better because they feel better. And that has a lot to do with the attire that you're wearing and you're showing up. That's the first thing people see is how you're showing up. And if you got a smile on your face because you feel great in that outfit, man, it's so empowering.
It is. And, honestly, you're inspiring me in this space. I will admit that this is one of the places where I struggle. I have a lot of nice clothes that I don't wear. And it's not that they're not comfortable. It's just that I reach for the same things over and over again because I get in that kind of that rut. But I have been challenging myself as I've been doing these interviews more and more with women to wear the things. And I just did it yesterday. I was meeting a friend for brunch and I thought I could wear these really cute little sandals that I have with a heel, or I could just default to the comfy flats that I always wear. And I don't even know, it wasn't even a comfort level thing. It was just like, I felt a little extra fancy by putting on those heels. But then when I put them on, I'm like, but that feels good. That feels great. So I wore the heels. I'm not going to lie. I put the sandals in my car just like in case I changed my mind when I got there, but I didn't. I stuck with the heels and it felt so good. So thank you for inspiring me in that space. I'm trying to do better, but yeah, it's always a struggle.
My sister obviously you will be able to tell my sisters and I are very, very close. We're sort of attached at the hip, but she would say, you're the Bible you're the only Bible somebody's going to read. And I don't mean just that as religion, but as the book that somebody's going to read. And the book is about you. You show up and that's the first thing they're going to read. And not that you should always wear the heels or always wear the diamonds or whatever, but when you show up and you pay attention and you do your best and you're not attached to any of the results or you don't even worry about what other people are thinking, that is like the best statement of authenticity that you can make. And so
you are dropping so many wisdom bombs today. Our listeners are going to love this. Yes, just show up as your authentic self. And that's the best advertisement for you, right? So good. So good. Well, I would love to switch gears just a little bit and talk about your style story. This is one of my favorite parts of the interviews that we're doing. And for listeners who aren't familiar with our show format, this is where we delve a little bit deeper into some of the influences that you had growing up and the ways that those have impacted you and your style today. And we have, all of our choices are shaped by some of these experiences that we've had. So I would love to hear first if you had an opportunity to review any old photographs, if you did do that, if it sparks some nostalgia. Oh yeah, you've got some.
Oh my gosh. And I am 64 and I'm very proud of it. So my photos are from the 70s or, 50s, 60s and 70s. And when Lauren sent me the instructions to spend 15 to 20 minutes, oh no, it was like a 2-day affair. I was like, oh my God, look at that. It was crazy. And yes, I did find some and I meant to send them, but they're terrible quality. I mean, can you imagine? They're like from the 70s.
Polaroids from the 70s. I've got plenty of those.
And I was a little afraid because most of them have my sisters in them. But the thing, because I've always had the pictures, my parents passed away 7 years ago. So we took all their stuff, obviously cleaned out their house and all of us have all the pictures. And so I had them, really handy. You go through all of them. But what happened was I remembered, and this is what really sparked my interest in your podcast, is like we all have a style story if we just take the time to really sit down and think about it. But really, who has time? But it just hit me. It was like, you have to do this. And I started looking at them, and my grandmother was a seamstress. And so she made all of mine and my sister's clothing from about the time I was 10 until she taught me how to sew. Because my dad moved us from a very small town in Arkansas to Atlanta, to this big city, and he went back to school. And my mom was the sole provider of our family. And my grandmother, being a seamstress, would just make all these clothes and stick them in a box and mail them to us. And we would open them up and my mother would be like, this is it. We are not going to Kmart or JCPenney. And every picture that I found was of us in these clothes. And my grandmother was such a fashionista. I mean, she knew, and that's where I got it. So, I loved all the clothes she sent us, and it started really young. And so when we moved back to Arkansas, my dad was in theology school and he got his first church. I said, you got to teach me how to sew because I got to do this. And I just learned how to sew. And all those pictures were of scarves when I was 7 and boots when I was 9. I mean, it is really, I have to give my grandmother credit for really, making me really appreciate the color and the texture and the style of the day. And you can only imagine what they all look like in the 70s, like, maxi dresses and boho thing.
What a gift. Oh my gosh. Not only physical gift, but also that you got her fashionista qualities and the fact that your grandma was like in touch with what the trends were at that time. And, I'm sure that most people would not open a box from their grandma and say necessarily like, these are clothes I want to wear, right? But what a talent. That's amazing. So what did you end up sewing? Did you start making your own clothes then too?
I did. I guess I was, well, you talk about when you're 12 and you're 13, and that is really, and I've studied a lot about neurology and the brain, being a first grade teacher. That is really a time when you're willing, you haven't really gotten to the part of being really afraid to go out there and be yourself, because of what the world's going to say. But I really love the art part of it and the pieces, putting the patterns together. And so at the age of about 15, I started sewing my own dresses and pants. And I even sewed a bathing suit once and I wore it. My dad was like, that's the only thing that my parents ever said about my attire. My dad was like, you going to wear that out? I was like, yes, I am. But I did. It was fine. But so at that time, and I sewed all through college, and I actually entered some of my dresses and outfits into some things that I did. And I remember like the night before a class thinking, I need to wear those shorts, and like hemming them up as I'm walking out the door. So, but then I had children and I didn't sew, and I just, I let it go, but I've gotten back into it. And I have tons of patterns from my grandmother. She had given me tons of patterns. So, I do it every once in a while.
So cool. Did you shop as well, or did you make most of your things?
No, we, like a lot of your other people on your podcast, we just didn't have extra money to go out and shop. My grandmother made all my clothes, and I just grew up with that sort of mentality of make it work. here's this. Now make it work. And we did. And, I do like to buy things and I do buy things, but, I just took my time and really decided this is what I want. And I'm going to either figure out how to find it in a thrift store or a discount store or save my money and go buy something, find something that I want at Dillard's and buy it. I remember like Connie, I think she said my first job was babysitting, obviously my sister's because I'm the oldest. And I took that money and bought an outfit. It was like the first store-bought thing I'd ever had. It's totally the wrong color for me, but I bought it and it was good. So yeah, I just sewed a lot. And then, when I got married and I had two children and I went back to school and then I was raising my kids by myself and I just kind of let that go. But I never lost the inspiration to make all these pieces fit and want to know what's in style and things like that.
I love that through line that it's always been your creative outlet. And you mentioned your grandmother as being a style influence for you. Do you recall having any other style mentors or anyone you looked up to?
Well, I'll throw some names out to you and we'll see if you recognize them. Samantha Stevens.
Oh my gosh. She's to this day one of my favorites. I'm in this Elizabeth Stevens Facebook group. I know it's crazy, but what was her name? Elizabeth Montgomery. Yeah. She's amazing.
Mary Richards.
I'm familiar with the name. Was she a model?
No, she was on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. That was her name on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And Anne Marie, this is going to be hard. Anne Marie, that girl from that 1960s show, That Girl. That's how I'm really aging myself.
Was she very mod?
Yeah. And she lived in New York and she wanted to be a model. She wanted to be an actress. Erica Kane. Everybody knows her. Barbie. Mary Jo Shively. Do you remember her? She was from Designing Women.
Oh, Designing Women. Annie Potts. I love her.
I didn't read, in the 70s, it was Tiger Beat, whatever. But I was watching these shows and I was just enamored with these women that were empowered, doing the thing, like they had jobs, they were independent, but they had on these clothes that really were their superhero capes. They had these and so those people in growing up were the ones that I really wanted to be like. I want to wear that. I want to have that, because they were empowered women. And like I said, I lived in a big city in the 70s in Atlanta and the feminist movement was starting. And it was just like, oh yeah, that's what I want. So those were the people that I watched. My mother used to say, you know those people better than you know our next door neighbors. And I did.
Yeah, those are some great role models. Oh, so fun. So fun. Taking the trip down memory lane. I'm afraid I failed your quiz though. I'm not terribly far behind as far as I'm familiar with the shows, but yeah. Okay. So one last question for you in your style journey. So is there anything, if you could go back and talk to 10-year-old Joy today, what do you think she needs to hear from you?
I was not expecting this question. She needs to hear me say, you know what, Joy? You are safe. You are safe in what you want to be and what you want to do. And your clothes are going to be what empower you. So do it. Wear those. My mother always said, nobody's wearing dungarees. Yes, dungarees. Nobody's wearing dungarees out of this house. And I'd be like, and I remember going to school one time and wearing the dress that my grandmother had made me, which was adorable. But I had told my friend to bring her a second pair of jeans so I could put them on. And I went to school and I changed into the jeans and wore them all day and then looked over my shoulder all day because I was afraid my mother would show up and see me in the jeans. But that's what I would tell her. You're going to be okay and you're safe. You are safe to be who you really want to be. And especially with your attire and your clothes, because I loved it then and I love it now. It's just something that inspires me.
Oh my gosh. This is normally the part of the show where we have takeaways, but I feel like you've given the audience all the takeaways. Seriously, you are so inspiring and I don't know, if there's anything that anyone takes from the show today, it's to live authentically, to show up as your true self and to really just honor that you are truly you exude joy, just like your name. It's such a beautiful thing. But I do want to help you with this overwhelm a little bit. And I really do appreciate the vulnerability and everything that you've shared with us today. Seriously, we've got some good life lessons in here and just the way that you embrace life. And we were chatting a little bit before we even started recording, and you were talking about that you're going on this 80-mile bike ride with your husband and saying, yep, I just go into it without expectations. And I love that. Like, you just embrace life and see where it's going to take you. And I think that there's something great to be learned from that. So, but yeah, let's talk a little bit more and chat through some of this overwhelm and, really looking at some ways that I did see that you did a closet clean out in March of this year. Is that right?
Yeah, I do a closet clean out. Well, first of all, I live in a 100-year-old house where the closets are the size of TikTok boxes. I mean, you think about it, those people did not have the resources that we had to have big closets and have lots of clothes. And so we've not remodeled that house in that so much as the upstairs, and the closets are very tiny. So I have to look at my stuff and go, do I really want to wear this season, or did I wear it last season? And I clean it out. Every time the new outfit formulas comes, I'm looking at what can I use for my closet, and then throwing away stuff. And as a matter of fact, the people at the donation center are like, "Oh, Miss Jeffrey, do you need they know I'm coming." But, yeah, I do clean out my closet a lot. And my sisters and I exchange clothes. And my daughters will come and get clothes for me. So there's always a lot of breeze in there, coming and going.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that does help to cut down on things and honestly just really help you make decisions about what you're going to wear. Do you feel like, when we're talking through this, do you feel like the issue is that you don't have enough places to wear the clothes, or you have more that you want to explore, or where do you feel like this is causing sort of a roadblock for you?
Well, I think that I could probably pare down even more, because I know I've heard a lot of women, my daughters and my nieces and sisters say, oh, I just, like you said, I just want to keep this because I might need to wear this later. And I don't wear them later. So I really have to get honest with myself and say, why are you keeping this, and are you going to wear it later? and that is where sometimes I struggle a little bit. It's like, I just really love this. It looks so cute with those pants. And then, one season later, I haven't worn it. I really need to pass it on, because I am a firm believer in, you must let go of things in your life so that things that are better can come into your life. And if you've got your closet all packed with, things that you're not wearing, you won't have room. You won't even see something else that you're like, oh, really inspires you, or that you really want to acquire. So part of that is that reason. I just think I have to go back and remind myself, it's okay to let things go, because something better is coming.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Yes. I can relate to that. Honestly, I feel like you give yourself almost permission to fill in a gap if you're able to let go of something that isn't working for you, but you're less likely to fill that gap if you feel like, there's something in there that kind of is filling the gap, but it's not really, again, like going back to those heck yes pieces of being sure that it is the right thing. And I think because you are such an intuitive and you are so authentic, that matters a lot to you, is to have those exact right pieces in your closet. So probably going back through and just kind of letting go of some additional items would help to cut down on that overwhelm. But I think overall that you are leaning into your creativity. And honestly, I think just acceptance of that is a big part of this too, which you do. I mean, you accept who you are and how you were made beautifully, and just kind of being okay with it. I love the analogy that you used as an artist, that you have, all of your art supplies and products, and maybe you're not going to use them all today, but they're there and they are a part of your creativity and your outlet. And your clothes are kind of that same thing. I'm never one to say, oh yeah, like hold on to a bunch of things. Like if they're serving you, then that's okay. It's okay. But if they're not, then that's when they need to go. So yeah, just maybe going through and doing one more additional pass through. Sometimes it's helpful to do that in a season as opposed to waiting until after, when you're just kind of going through things and thinking, this isn't really feeling good. So I keep a bag or box in my closet throughout the season for those things that I can just pull off the hanger and put in there, knowing that I'm probably not going to wear it at all. And that makes the job easier whenever I get to the end of a season too, just to kind of box that up and send it on its merry way to serve its purpose elsewhere, because there's always someone waiting for it.
Yeah. Who knows? Somebody might need a black shirt that you don't want to wear anymore. I have a friend who puts her clothes on probation. She says she wears them at her house. Like she'll pull out the season and she'll look at them and she'll like go, I don't really like that, but probably could use it with blah, 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 blah. So she will hang the clothes that she doesn't really know. It's like one of those, I don't know. So she hangs them and she'll put it on in her house. Like, she knows she's not going anywhere. She'll put it on. She'll dress how she would dress with that on. And she says she can usually tell within 30 minutes, I don't like this. I'm taking it off. And she knows that's going in the donation or the trade pile. And I love that because you look at something and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to wear that, but you forget there's a tag in the back that scratches or it doesn't zip right. So maybe you wear it around your house, cleaning up the kitchen, not entertaining people, but just wear it around your house and think, okay, yeah, no, I'm not going to wear this. And that has been helpful to me to do that when I remember to do that. And when I clean out my closet, when I take out, like I just took out the summer stuff and laid it out and I was like, some of this has got to go. So I just put some of those over on probation. And I know one time this week, I'm going to put on that green shirt that I know I love, but it just doesn't feel right. And it'll go.
Such a smart tip. I tell women to do that on the flip side of it too. If there's a trend that you've been a little bit scared to try it around the house. If it feels good to you, then keep it, keep the tags on it. If it doesn't, then you can ship it back. But that's a great concept. I'm going to try out some probation. And it also reminds us that it's okay to get dressed even if you're going nowhere, right? You can dress around the house. There's nothing wrong with that. And some days I just dress for me. Like most days I just dress for me, if I'm being honest. And there's a beauty in that. Yes, it's beautiful. Well, did you have any questions for me today? Anything you wanted to?
Well, I did have a question, but you've already answered it. I was going to ask you how your style affects the decoration of your home. And you had that interview with Mike Quillen, and I really enjoyed that. I have one of her books. My daughter gave it to me, and I love her style. But I wondered because mine does not. And that's really weird. It does not, because I know my husband he's kind of an artist too. And so he loves to do all the decorating. Well, we need this chair and this chair. And I'm just like, I can't feel my arms. I don't know what's going on. And that's something I don't do very well at all. I don't know what chair goes with what and what color goes. Isn't that weird? I just don't. And so that was what I was going to ask you is like, and I know it does carry over to the style in your home. And I think that's wonderful. How do you do that? How does that transition for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't really think a whole lot about it, if I'm being honest. I believe that I'm a big fan of neutrals in my wardrobe, and my closet staples are really based around a very neutral palette. And then I like to add in just seasonal color and patterns. And I feel that my house is the same way. Like I've redecorate my patio every couple years because we live in Texas and the sun just destroys all of everything. So we have, our very neutral water and UV resistant fabrics on all the furniture out there. And then I can just easily zip on new throw pillows every season. Like this season, I'm doing something that's kind of like jungle themed out there. We've got like leopard print and palm leaves and just super fun things on the patio this year. And I do that inside in our spaces too. So our living room couch, which was an investment piece that we got probably 6 years ago, it's still holding up great. It is just gray. And then I can do different throw pillows and things in there. I like leopard print in every room of the house. I feel like leopard is a neutral. I love it in clothing and style and accessories. And so each room in the house has just this little tiny piece of leopard print somewhere. It's kind of fun, like finding the leopard. I love stripes. I've always been a fan of black and white stripes. I like in my office, we've got our bright pinks, we've got the stripes and all the things going on in here, a little bit of gold. So it's got that tiny little bit of glam, but I just love my spaces to feel very comfortable and very livable. And our house looks like people live here. And, it's not always perfect, but it is organized and it's neat and it's uncluttered. And I don't know. I just feel like there are so many things about my personal style that I can see reflected in the home decor as well, that I didn't ever really kind of draw those parallels until I stopped to think about it. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see that those concepts of really just building your basics and your staples and investing in good quality things that will last a while. And then, you can adapt to the trends easily and you can add in the colors and you can have fun with all of the things inexpensively. And also it's not a huge, time or money resource, obviously, to do all of those things. So yeah, thank you for asking that. That's a fun question.
Well, so is your favorite color pink? I mean, you have a lot of pinks.
I do a lot of accent colors. So in my office, I have like a pink and turquoise accents in here. And then in our kitchen and throughout the rest of the downstairs of the house is very cohesive. It's shades of blue, like aqua blue and teal blue, like peacock blue, depending on which room you're in. So yeah, I would say that when we moved into this house, I decided I just wanted kind of that really cohesive feel in the house. And so that's why we did it that way. But I do love pink. I had a color analysis done a few years ago, and she told me that I shouldn't wear pink because it pulls away. I should wear neutrals. I'm a person that's supposed to wear neutrals. I know it's crazy, right? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm wearing pink. I'm going to wear what I love. So you'll see me in pink shirts a lot, but I don't know. You got to break the rules, right? You got to have fun.
I'm all about breaking the rules, I tell you. And we have a house that we built. We live in our old house, but we built a house on the lake because we live near Beaver Lake, well, the lake area. It's beautiful here. It's beautiful. And when my husband asked me, you know, what do you want? I was like, I need blue. I need blue all over this house. And I don't know where that came from. And I was talking to one of my little bonus grandchildren. She's like, what is your favorite color, Yaya? And I said, it's blue. And I thought, oh my gosh, it took me 64 years to realize I love blue. And there's not one thing blue in that house in town. But that's something I'm so interested in, like because you obviously know the style and the fashion and the clothes and the color and the textures and the fun and the creativity of it doesn't transfer for me for some reason. I don't know. So I'm always wondering about that, and especially with you, because you had where you did your whole house. You showed us on Instagram maybe that, you know, when you redid your kit, and it was just beautiful. And I just was like, how do people do that? I don't know.
I love pretty things. That's my thing. It's my jam. Well, thank you. Well, thanks again, Joy. This was just such a pleasure. I loved every minute of our conversation. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you so much for inspiring me, for inspiring others with your story, and for being part of the Alpha Formulas community. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's your turn. I would love to hear your thoughts about today's conversation. Did you see yourself in any part of Joy's story? Did any of her tips inspire you as much as they inspired me to look at your closet with a fresh set of eyes? And what feelings do you notice when you get dressed? Let's open a dialogue and connect. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as Allison Lambatis, and I'd love to hear from you. If you share thoughts about your own style story on social media, please tag me. I'd love to see it and cheer you on. Remember, you are worthy. Style is a skill anyone can learn, and closet contentment is possible. I believe in you. Thanks for tuning in.